As we come to the end of our pilgrimage in everyday life, I'd like to summarize the journey we have taken together, where we've started and where we have come to, and to offer you a few of my thoughts in response. In my introduction to Bruno's wisdom vision for Christianity, based on his book, Second Simplicity, I shared some words that he'd written that had given me energy, that had made me want to know more. I'd just like to remind you of those words. This Jesus, whom we encounter, is a light at the center of the world, a fire at the world's edge. He moves beneath the images of himself as an alternate center of energy. He awakens that which lies at the core of my own being. The knowledge of Jesus Christ is a unitive knowledge. It is the luminosity of my own true and eternal being. Bruno believed that at the core of Christian spirituality was a wisdom experience that could bring about a change of consciousness, a new awareness. He understood Jesus as the divine wisdom which had become one with humanity, making possible a oneness of being that can move us all into a fuller experience of Christianity, an experience of wisdom that brings all created reality into unity with God. When Bruno spoke of wisdom, he used phrases like wisdom Christ, wisdom awakening, body wisdom, and wisdom knowing. He also spoke about the taste of wisdom. He said, what you taste, you are taking into yourself, you're absorbing. It is becoming you. For him, wisdom is knowing with the whole of the person, bodily, imaginatively, intuitively. It is about something deep and alive going on beneath the surface that draws you in with a certain sweetness. It becomes you. It's less of what we do than what happens to us, what we encounter. That changes us. That brings about transformation. Bruno's wisdom vision, in the pattern of many other wisdom traditions, unfolded into 4 dimensions, which he expressed in his Celtic cross mandala. In our pilgrimage, we have journeyed through the 4 movements of this mandala, through silence, word, music, and dance. And I'm going to ask Ali if she'll share her screen now, because we're going to read an encapsulation of those 4 movements. So a reflective summary of Bruno Barnhart's 4 movements of his quaternary cross mandala. And you'll see there the 4 images that I used for each of the movements. Next slide, please, Annie. 1. The first movement is silence. As Father, Birther, and Source. 1 is oneness of being, the unity of reality. 1 is God as ground of being, as the source from which all comes forth. Source, as divine word, was spoken at the beginning of creation, pointing to the beginning of the new creation, the Christ event. 1 is the silence of mystery and unknowing, the place of contemplation, where the opening of our consciousness to embrace mystery is also an opening to the source. We open and awaken to the abundance of the source. We become aware of reality as movement, emergence, as a present energy. One is the unity of wisdom, the center of each person, the unity of true self, the Christ self. One is the silence. Let it lead you. Next slide. 2. The second movement is the word, logos, the Christ dimension. Logos as revelation, as light, as wisdom. God's mystery as Christ. Incarnate, the union of divinity with humanity. The word, rooted in the light of pure consciousness. This light, this Logos Christ, is the source of interior illumination and is bringing the person into union with the divinity and oneness with God. This new divine human oneness, corresponding to the incarnation, is the heart of Christianity. This Christ event, the Christ quantum, lives and works within human history. Everything that exists is touched by this event and is eventually to be transformed by it. The word is being liberated into its natural movement and progression towards a new wisdom knowing, just as the seed matures into the plant and then ripens into fruit. In this organic movement of the wisdom Christ, we can journey from faith to love, from light to fire, from manifestation to transformation, illumination to union. Next slide. 3. The third movement is the spirit, Sophia, the unitive divine feminine. Spirit is the energy and movement of relationship, of resonance and communion, of immediate personal experience, unfolding through human creativity into a new creation. Spirit, Sophia, as music, the Christ music of the new wisdom of Pentecost. Wisdom that is the resonance of music. Like music and song, this wisdom is movement, energy, and breath. The Christ music, resonating in a dynamic wholeness within the Gospels, alive with its energy. The music of the sudden opening and outpouring of unitive light. The music of epiphanies. The music that is in each one of us, in which everything that we are awakens to its oneness and freedom, awakens to its own being as music and light. The music that is poetry, moving in the unitive dynamism of spirit into a single music. Sophia wisdom as the essential music of life, the music of divine wisdom in its manifold expressions. We know this music in the resonance that it awakens in the people and in the natural things around us, and that then awakens in ourselves. We listen to the whispering wonder, like wind in the standing grain. Next slide. 4. The fourth movement is matter, material cosmos, the world of the body, humanity participating in the one planet Earth. 4 is the number of fullness and integration, completing the mandala as the whole. It represents the final union of God with all creation, the whole of created reality, reaching towards its completion in the bodiliness of the Christ event, the physicality of divine revelation. All of creation resonates with the revealed word, the incarnate Jesus. This is the wisdom of creation, the wisdom of nature, body, and matter, the wisdom of incarnation. 4 can be seen as the body in all aspects of human life, with a spirituality of the presence of God in the thick of human activity. 4 as the body of Christ, which is developing, growing towards its fullness in the course of history, in the stream of universal becoming. 4 as matter, flowing from its spiritual source, as an incarnation of spirit, making everything divine. It is Spirit Sophia who bears the world into its realization in God. She is the energy and movement of the whole, driving forward the whole course of human development. She dances in all of creation, anticipating the time when the creation itself will be delivered into its freedom. Her dance is in the living beauty all around us, in which we find the already of present fullness, of divine presence. So having journeyed with Bruno for some time, I feel as though I am actually arriving at the beginning. As he said, we are ever beginning to learn this gospel of incarnation. As I think back, I recall how this began for me, how a few words stirred and energized me, how those few words led to Bruno's book with his many complex words and thoughts. I recall how I spent a lot of time wondering, musing, often grappling, struggling, grappling, whatever the word is, with his ideas before pausing in silence to allow them to sink down into me, trusting that process of quiet absorption until they became part of me, part of my experience. Only then could I feel my own wisdom wave forwards towards expressing the core and essence of Bruno Barnhart's sapiential thinking, as I have understood it and have shared it with you. Despite Bruno's profound influence, his intelligence, the breadth and diversity of his thinking, his knowledge and recognition as a wisdom teacher, he was a contemplative who spent long hours in prayer, in the silence and solitude of his monastic cell. I believe that he spoke and wrote from the experience of his inner life of contemplative prayer, a lived wisdom knowing coming from the ground of his being. I imagine his active mind being stilled in the silence as the movement, breath, and energy of Sophia Christ worked in him, danced around him, in him, revealing the wisdom of the cross to him, perhaps showing him the mandala. I can imagine him experiencing and being awakened to the light, that light as the center of the world, a fire at the world's edge, a knowing at the core of his being, the unitive one, the wisdom that is incarnation. So the words of this body prayer from Bruno Barnhart's reflection on the word as light are: in the simplicity of this light that is everywhere around me, in the silence of this light that is within me, I am. And I will do the movements for this body prayer and say the words and move with the words. And I'll just keep doing it. And as you join in, as you feel comfortable and familiar, just join in. And I'll probably do this for three times, maybe 4. In the simplicity of this light that is everywhere around me, in the silence of this light that is within me, I am. In the simplicity of this light that is everywhere around me, in the silence of this light that is within me, I am. In the simplicity of this light that is everywhere around me, in the silence of this light that is within me, I am. In the simplicity of this light that is everywhere around me, in the silence of this light that is within me. I am.